Welcome back, Pyros. Yesterday's video was more about hashtag Save Our Fireworks, with just a little bit of getting into the numbers. And since I had some time, I got a little more into the numbers, and I'll break those down to you. So remember, we had 230 million pounds of fireworks purchased during 2017, which resulted in 8 deaths and 12,900 fireworks-related injuries. Now we know that 12,900 of those people, not all of them needed to go to the hospital. So that number is probably pumped up. A lot of those people probably could have just healed at home. They just overreacted and went to the hospital. Not saying all 12,900 were not injured, just saying they probably didn't need to go to the hospital. All right, let's see. Also, last year, $885 million was spent on fireworks, with this year's number expecting to be in 900 million or above. So in another year or two, this will be a certified billion-dollar business, which means they ain't gonna fuck with it. All right, since 2011, 11 new states have started allowing fireworks. And today, fireworks are cheaper today than in the mid-90s. In 1996, it cost $1.37 per pound of fireworks. Today, that cost is $1.13. So from what they're saying, fireworks are cheaper today than they've ever been, as well as more abundant. Even with more fireworks being brought in today, we are still far below the number of injuries in the mid-80s. Today, the injury numbers are 4 out of every 100,000 people. In 1986, it was 6.6 out of every 100,000 people, with the lowest date being reported at 2008 with 2.3 per 100,000. Now, 2008 was obviously before 2011, when more and more states started allowing fireworks. Men and boys account for 70% of the injuries. Duh, we kind of already figured that. Pyro is sort of a sausage fest. If you got little girls, get them into pyro. I know several pyros that are actually doing that with their little girls, and that's a cool idea. Alright, so here is the breakdown of the injuries. Body parts. 14% of the reported injuries were to the eyes, 22% was head, face, and ears, 31% hands and fingers, 6% arms, 17% legs, 10% trunks and other. So I'm assuming like pants. Trunks, that's the only thing I can think of. Let's see. Burns to the hands, fingers, and arms being most common. Okay, here we go. So last year there were 8 people killed by fireworks, or 7 killed by fireworks, and 1 killed by a house fire started by fireworks, ranging from 4 to 57, I believe. So the 4-year-old was a little girl from Wisconsin, and apparently her father loaded sparklers into a metal tube. He didn't say if he put a lot in there or just one. I'm assuming it was far more than just one. And at some point that metal tube exploded, shrapneling the little girl, and she died as a result of it. So sparklers, used in the wrong way, killed a little girl. The house fire victim was from Florida, and the house fire / trailer was started by his sister throwing a firecracker at a rat, which caught the insulation of their mobile home on fire. So for whatever reason, he couldn't get out of a mobile home. So I don't know if he was crippled or dead drunk asleep or what, but for whatever reason, he burned up in the house. Do not use firecrackers to run rats off, at least next to the house. And then the device slash firecracker, I was correct. Even though they're listing it as 2, it's 1. So it was an 11-year-old boy home alone in Kansas experimenting with firecrackers slash device. Something went wrong. It exploded, and a piece of metal went into his neck. I'm assuming he probably bled out. That one, more than likely, probably could have been prevented. I don't know if his parents had fireworks laying around, or if somebody sold him something they wasn't supposed to, or what. For all we know, he saw a YouTube video on how to turn Piccolo Pete's into M80s. I've actually done that. It does work. Burns to the hand. Well, we already got that. Alright, so what was it yesterday? It was sparklers accounted for. So sparklers were the #1 cause of injuries. Some of the other injuries and their numbers, reloadables accounted for 12%. We all know reloadables can be dangerous. You don't want to have your head or any body part over the tube, especially if you're reloading a tube that just went off. You just shot and you're dropping another shell in it. Firecrackers accounted for 10%. More than likely that's people holding them in their hand and trying to throw them. Bottle rockets and homemade devices accounted for 3%. So actually, when you look at it, considering we're blowing off far more fireworks than we ever have, and the injuries and deaths don't show what the CPSC wants them to show. Only 8 people died from fireworks, but yet we've lit off 230 million pounds. I mean, it's almost $1 billion industry. What other $1 billion industry only accounts for 8 deaths? How many people die off of opioids just a day? How many people are going to die from eating McDonald's every single day? We're not going to use the obvious with the cigarettes. And like I said before, 12,900 people injured. Not all 12,900 of them needed medical attention. So that number, as far as I'm concerned, is bullshit too. But with fireworks being cheaper, I think it's 2011, 11 states have come online. We came online in 2015, July the 1st. I've been shooting fireworks on the holidays consistently since 2000. Inconsistently since the mid-90s. And it wasn't hard to get fireworks back then. All you had to do was just go across the state line. There wasn't anyone really enforcing age restrictions, which are heavily enforced now. That's probably one of the main reasons why the injury numbers aren't as high as the CPSC would really like them to be, so that they can ban this shit. So that's most of the numbers that I've looked up today. Oh, also, let's see. The CPSC has implemented rules to combat injuries. Some of those rules being better fusing. Their requirement is 3 to 9 seconds. Wider bases and banning lead from composition. I actually didn't know lead was ever in composition. That's probably the only metal I'd be okay with letting them ban. Everything else, no. So that's pretty much what I got for today. If you haven't gone on the website, please do so. If you like fireworks, don't let them take them away from you. And I know some people say, well, I'll just go to 1.3. 1.3 is not an option for everybody. I personally cannot store 1.3 in any amount in my county. It doesn't matter. I have a shipping container. They won't allow that, and they won't allow a drop box. My county fire marshal will not sign off on 1.3 being stored in the county whatsoever. And on top of that, the nearest 1.3 supplier is 500 miles away from here. I believe it's in Tennessee. And as we all know, if something doesn't go off, I have to take it back because I'm not allowed to store it. And then on top of that, some states have actually made it to where you have to have a insurance policy specifically for 1.3 to even shoot on your own property. And I have access to 17 acres where I could do a shoot, but I'm going to run into that issue. Now, I have not tried to see if that county fire marshal will allow me to park my shipping container there. If I could get storage and shoot there, not here, I wouldn't be turning big 1.3 shit loose in front of my house. For one reason, I'm not that far from the police department. They would see it. Not to mention 3 different fire departments. So I know they would see it. But I could shoot there and not have the same issues. But other than that, I don't, getting a 1.3 license isn't going to help me. I can't go out in the street and start turning loose 4-inch shells or 6-inch shells or 300 shot whistle to salute cakes. Can't do that. If the cops pull up on you and they find that shit, you can get in trouble. And they actually, the last time he came, he did get out of the car and looked over all our dead cakes. Which there was no 1.3 out there. Actually, everything that was out there was Phantom and Jake's and compliance shit. If I'd known the cops were going to come, we probably would have shot better shit. So anyway, yeah, just getting your 1.3 license doesn't mean you're actually going to be able to enjoy the hobby like we do now with 1.4. So, appreciate the view. Get on the website, sign it. If you want to look up any of the numbers I looked up, it's on several of the CPSC websites. And it's also on, I think, the NFA website, injury reports. They have them for several years going back. So, thanks again, Pyros. Let's be safe out there and not do anything stupid to help the CPSC to pull this shit.